Let's organise my bookshelves, shall we? So, for a little bit of context, I've moved house and for the first time in my life I have my own dedicated workspace, my own office, my own little room, my little getaway, which is also going to serve partly as my library because obviously I have a lot of books. And I recently uploaded a video, it should be the last video that was uploaded, where I unpacked all of my books, which was more than 30 boxes, and I confess that since filming that video I've found an additional 5 boxes of books, so there was more than that. I think in total we ended up having about 40 boxes of books between us, my partner and I. So those all got unpacked and put in kind of rough piles of genre. I thought a little bit about where they were all going to go, so I've already decided like science fiction, fantasy are going in the living room, they're not going to be in here. And I've since built my office bookcases. So I got myself 3 of the Billy bookcases from IKEA, which I feel like are just the internet staple, right? Like if you read books and you're on the internet, your books are on Billy's, right? That's like the rule. I've never had Billy bookcases in my life before, but I'm really happy with them. I got the sort of like dark wood effect ones and I really like them. 2 of the wide ones and 1 of the narrow ones because that fits nicely in this gap. There's then a radiator which prevents me going any further on this wall. However, there's no way in high heaven that I would ever fit all my books on here. Thankfully there are going to be bookcases elsewhere in our house, but if necessary I've sort of left myself space in my office to build more bookcases in here too, but I thought I'd start with these 3, you know, like start small and work your way up. And essentially in this video I want to organise these, I want to decorate them, I want to put my books on them, I want to decide what books are going where, how I'm going to display them all, and make sure it's the most effective bookshelf storage system for me in my workspace, where I'm going to be able to access all my like research books, all my history books, all my mythology books, but also just some of my fun books, and also just create a nice atmosphere, like, you know, a nice space where I'm going to enjoy working. So that's today's plan. Basically we're going to organise these bookcases. Top priority is obviously putting history books, mythology books, folklore books, fairy tale books, classical literature, anything of that ilk on these bookcases, but I'm hoping there will be a little bit of space beyond that where I can also put some other genres, because we have a ton. At the moment I'm toying with like romance and horror and children's books in here, but I don't think all will fit, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. I've got a starter plan, but I don't have a full plan basically, and I thought I would take you along with me on that journey. You said you'd like to see the process of me organising these bookcases, so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I've probably rambled long enough, and I haven't even put the final shelves on this Billy here, so let's start with that, shall we? Okay, so now that the rest of the shelves are actually on the bookcases, I think I'm going to start by like kind of micro organising my books. So right now you can see that I kind of chucked my romance on here just to have a look at the bookcases and what they fitted, and then I've chucked a bunch of non-fiction on here again just to sort of get it off the floor. But my first priority, like I mentioned, is history and myth, so I am going to start like getting all of that out of the piles I've made of them and micro organising it. So like I'm going to put all of my ancient history books together, and then within that I'm probably going to organise those as well. And I'll put all of my Hellenistic era history books together and all my Roman history books together, you know, like I'll get quite niche because I have a lot of those, and then I'll probably just put all my medieval history books in one section because like I've not got as many of those, and I'll also categorise any other like myth and history books I come across, because I really did just chuck all of those in one big pile and they're really not organised beyond that, and I'll start putting them on the bookcases, not necessarily where they'll end up, but in their like groups, if that makes sense. And probably in the meantime I'm also going to take off these romance books and other books just to start fresh. just think it's important to acknowledge that if Aristotle has no haters, then I am dead. Unsurprisingly, I have a lot of classical literature and I think I'm going to need more than 2 shelves for this. So my categories are starting to overwhelm me a little bit, so I think I'm going to start being a little bit more exact to my organisation. Right now everything on these 2 shelves here is classical literature, so Roman or Greek ancient literature. And I think I might start actually organising a few of these shelves. The thing is, they can get moved and rearranged, so it's really not a big deal. And I think if there's a bit more order to some of the shelves, that will make me feel less overwhelmed by all of it, because there's still a lot to unbox. So this is my current ancient Greek and Roman literature section. Actually there's more here, but I know this isn't it all. So I don't know where some of them are. Like, I definitely own a copy of Emily Wilson's translation of the Odyssey. I have another copy of the Odyssey that fits in with this collection that was my dad's, and just a few other texts that I'm not seeing. So goodness only knows where all of that stuff is. I think I'm going to be finding books for days. Okay, update. So I think I have the larger part of my history books and my classical text and my mythology and folklore books on these bookcases. There are ones that I can remember that I own that I haven't come across, so I don't know if I've left some at my mum's, if there's some still scattered in boxes somewhere. That we'll see, but obviously I'm hoping it's not like, you know, multiple shelves worth. And these are by no means properly organised at all. Like, this does not give me the good feels, this does not make me happy, but just to kind of get a sense of what they fit in, and most of them do fit in one bookcase. We have a little bit of spillover, although it's like, again, not properly organised. I just like stuck all my sort of like Celtic stuff here, but I don't necessarily know if I want to keep that separate, so like we'll see. I've not fully figured it out, but at least now I know I can fit more than just like history and ancient literature and mythology on these bookcases. There's definitely more space than that, so now I guess I have to decide what is my next priority, but in the meantime I think I might have lunch. I think I need food to help me decide. I'm back and I have more books. So I have had my lunch and I have a cup of coffee and a Tunnocks caramel wafer to keep me going, and I'm going to get back to it. For now I have decided to put romance back on here because I think that'll fit, but I found some more history books, so I think we're definitely going to extend past that one bookcase for those. Now there's no real strong reason towards picking any genres now for these shelves. The only thing is that fantasy and sci-fi are way too big combined to fit on this, so they're going in the living room. They're also where Chris and I have the most overlap in genre, so all of our books get to go together. And if I'm being perfectly honest, romance is one of the genres I'm enjoying reading the most at the minute, so I've just decided to keep it in my office. I might change my mind because Chris does read romance too, so it might go somewhere else eventually, but for now we're going with romance, and if I can fit them, children's books, but we'll see. Okay, so I have moved and arranged and figured out some spaces for some books at this point, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm finding this all quite overwhelming. I think I thought I would find this more fun and relaxing than I am. Not entirely sure why. I think it might just be like the overall kind of like sort of hecticness of organising a house, not just bookcases. So it's like I feel there's a lot of pressure to like get everything in a good place and like make it like a nice environment to work in. And I obviously right now can't even use my desk because it's covered in books. So I'm trying to do at least the minimum I can do to make my space feel good to work in, because I have edits and I have stuff to write and I have things to do and videos to film. So yeah, I am a little bit overwhelmed, if I'm being perfectly honest. It's really small fry and not the end of the world by any means. But just so you know, like after a few hours of doing this, I'm a bit like, I don't know, I just don't know where to put things. So I have figured out where all my history books and all my ancient history books are going. They're all on the bottom. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I would like some shelves in my office that just make me feel good, that just like look nice. And I know that's not particularly academic or scholarly or whatever you want to call it, way to organise books. I just kind of want them to look cute and pretty and appreciate some of the gorgeous cover art I have, and be able to like glance over from my desk and think, oh, nice books. Like I want that. So I think I'm going to try and just like style a shelf. I'm going to like focus on one shelf and try and style it in a way that makes me really happy. That, you know, I'll want to film TikTok and YouTube videos in front of, and yeah, that kind of thing. So I'm going to focus on that for the next like 15 minutes and just sort of see what comes of it. And it might also make me feel inspired. Okay, so I'm actually starting to feel a little bit more chilled out now. I think like I've got a few shelves that are making me feel really good and it's exciting, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do this, I can organise them. So I'll give you a proper like close-up tour in a second, but just to show you, like, we've got some nice beautiful covers on display. I mean, like some of these books are more than just written artwork, they're physical artwork too, and I like want to show that off. Maybe it's just because I was raised by a designer to appreciate all of these things. So yeah, hats off to the designers who were involved in some of these book covers, including my own Live Like a Goddess by Jean Mingus, my YA book all about mythology and advice we can learn from myths. This is illustrated by Taylor Dolan and I love her artwork. It's so unique. Let me show you some of the inside illustrations whilst I'm here. This is her illustration of Bridget, which I just, oh, they're really creative and unique. Her rendition of the tapestry of Nuwa from Chinese mythology. Yeah, just love it. So I've put that there just now, we'll see what else I do. And it's no surprise to you that I do also adore the artwork in my DK children's books, which are illustrated by Katie Ponder. This is Egyptian myths in French. So that's what some of the inside illustrations look like. But I haven't found my English copies, like my original copies yet. Don't know where those are. I've only found the ones I have in translation, which I have because, well, I don't know, I'm just really proud of them and I think it's really cool that they exist in other languages. So yeah, I've only found those so far, but yeah, gotta keep going, but I'm feeling good. Okay, so as you can see there's still some gaps and there's reasons for that, so I'm gonna just like give you a brief overview of what I've accomplished today, and I'll also do some close-ups for you. I feel like an actual bookshelf tour is like a whole other thing that maybe I can do once I've organised all the bookcases in the house, so let me know if you'd like to see that. But like I mentioned, I've got all my history books, I've got all my folklore, my mythology, my religious texts, I guess, all on these bookcases, and I've displayed some beautiful covers, which make me really happy. I also have all of my romance books up the top here. Actually, I think that's in shot. All of my children's books here, well, my middle grade books. I do have picture books as well, so these are all my middle grade books. The folklore history stuff goes like down to the bottom here. It like flows over here, and it flows over a little bit over here. Then right on the bottom shelf, which you can't see right now, I'm realising, is my comic books and graphic novels. But there are some spaces. Now, there are definitely some history books and classical texts I haven't come across yet. I still haven't found my Emily Wilson's Odyssey. I have, like, you know when you can just remember very specific books? I have a book on texts concerning ancient women, which is like a sample book of text, and I don't know where that is. It's like a chunky book, so it shouldn't be that hard to find. There are definitely a few more middle grade books that I haven't come across yet, which may mean that this shelf may need to sort of spill over a little bit and I'll have to do a little bit of reworking. I'm also pretty sure there's a couple of graphic novels I haven't come across. Like I said, I still can't even find my English copies of some of my own books, which would be going in here. So yeah, those haven't been encountered, but I'm hoping, kind of based on memory, what I haven't found yet should fit on the space I still have remaining. I may just have to like move some things up and down, which is absolutely fine. And I even put this here, which makes me feel like super professional author. It's my Books Are My Bag 2020 Readers Award, which was for Breakthrough Author, and I'm like, it's on display. It's never been on display before, so that's super cool. I'm just like, I don't know, it feels just like such an exciting, like, grown-up, serious, professional thing to like be able to display some of my own written books, and that award that I won, it's like, I don't know. I am not very articulate. I'm better writing than I am speaking, I think. So yeah, I'm feeling really good about it after my small like, this isn't gonna work, where is everything gonna go moment. I think it is all going to work, and I can start organising the shelves downstairs with the rest of the fiction and more like recent political non-fiction I've not put in here. Although I'm very much of the mindset as a historian that works on modern history, modern politics, political science, sociology can be really relevant to you and your methodologies as a historian. So it's not that those things are entirely distinct, but we're not going in here because there's no space. Okay, let's have a quick look through what I have here. So the only things I've put on the top here are my dad's old collection of some classical literature, which are more for display for me at this point. They're more sentimental because I have my own copies of a lot of those texts. Then we have a mishmash of religious, mythological and fairy tale texts from around the world. We have same kind of vibes on this shelf. Mishmash, again, similar mishmash of some of my most beautiful editions and collections. Like, these are sort of collections of mythology and folklore from around the world that I've got certain books in. Those collections, I've like lost the ability to speak. We have classical literature here, carrying on into there, which I definitely have a couple that I've not found yet. We have general history, so history that's maybe sort of modern, medieval, or like spans from prehistoric times or antiquity into more recent times. Then we have ancient history specific to the Greeks and the Romans, so like Egyptian is in here, but Greeks and Romans is the ones I obviously have the most for, but I have more than this. There's some books I've not come across yet. I may have left them at my mum's, so I need to look out for those. Some more classical texts here behind my wee award. And my good old trusty Greek lexicon. We have some children's picture books down here, which generally deal with mythology, but in children's picture book form or history. My comic books and graphic novels. The two shelves where I've left space to shimmy around, so not fully complete, but again, my tiny collection of art books that aren't classical, some history, some mythology. We looked at that. We then have my little chronicle mythology collection, as well as my wooden book collection. That might get rearranged slightly. I have some like bits and pieces I'd like to put on these bookcases. Some books more generally on sort of like witchcraft and the history of witchcraft. My romance, which spans across these two bookcases. My children's middle grade books, which there are a couple more of I need to find, so again this might have to sort of spread out. And then some more fairy tale folklore stuff. Yeah, pretty much that covers everything that I managed to organise today. Like I said before, I might still put some more bookcases up in here. We'll see what works space-wise once I've got a little bit more into the room. But for now, I'm really pleased actually with how everything looks. I've never had such aesthetic bookshelves, if I do say so myself. But yeah, what has taken me about 4 hours to do today is probably going to end up being like a half-hour video, but I hope you enjoyed watching it, and let me know if you would like part 2, part 3. What are we at now? I don't know what counts as part 1, if it was the unboxing video or this is the part 1, but let me know if you'd like to see another video organising bookcases elsewhere in the house. I might take a slightly different approach to that video because Chris and I will probably be organising those books together, but we'll see what I can, you know, sort of smoosh together if you'd like to see something like that. Quite a few said you'd like an office decor tour once I'm more settled, so I'm definitely going to do that, and I can absolutely film an updated bookshelf tour once I have got all the books on bookcases, which will be so interesting to look back at because I've been filming bookcase tours for years. I must have filmed one in my old flat, I think I did. So I filmed like a bookcase tour almost everywhere I've been, or at least most of the places I've been, and I have these growing bookcases over time that I've got documented, which I think is really super cool. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much everything. I think I've descended into the rambling phase of the day, and it's probably a good idea if I go and sit down and maybe have a cup of herbal tea. But yeah, thanks for watching if you got this far. I'd love to know more about how you organise your own books, and until next time, happy reading. I'll see you all again soon. Bye everyone.